What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gunfish TV. Out here under the boat shed right now, and we are having a nasty rainstorm here in Virginia. It has rained an absolute ton, and I have not been able to get on the water that much, so what better to do today than work on some bait casting reels, getting those reels lubed up, greased up for the upcoming season. It is the perfect time to do it. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about how to grease and oil your bait casting reel so it will last you a super long time. We know our fishing tackle is a huge investment. Whether you spend $50 on a reel or spend $400 on a reel, no matter what, you want it to last as long as it possibly can. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a couple reels, we're going to go into the man cave, and I'm going to show you all how to maintain your reels so it will last you close to a lifetime. Some of these reels will last 20, 30 plus years. So let's go ahead, let's hop in there, let's get to it. All right, y'all, here we are in the man cave once again, and we're going to be doing, as I said, some reel maintenance. So we're going to be working right here on the old countertop right here. I got a little bit of lighting. I got my daughter, she's going to come in here and do some filming for me. But basically we have a loose speed spool reel right here. Had it for about a year, really haven't maintained it, so it is the perfect time for me to go ahead and get this bad boy greased and oiled up for the upcoming season. As I said, it's super important. You do not want to take a reel and never clean it up because it is not going to last you as long as it can. So I'm going to go over what you need to get it done, and I'm going to show you the basics of maintaining your reel so it can last you a super long time. Let's get into it. All right, so to start off with, all you need is a few items to make sure you can get this done. Basically, you want a microfiber towel, and that's to basically wipe the reel off pretty good. You want some grease. So this is a reel grease right here. And then you want some oil. This is the Lose Hyperspeed oil. And, you know, basically different parts of the reel need oil and different parts need grease. We're going to go over that. And then also you need a small screwdriver set. So some type of small screwdriver. A flathead usually works a little bit better than the smaller Phillips, but a little kit like that will get it done. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. What we're going to do is basically what I like to do first. I like to just take a microfiber towel and I like to wipe the reel off. So any grease, oil, any just nasty stuff, I like to wipe it off. So just clean it up a little bit. And you can really do this throughout the season when you're, you know, getting home from fishing, or if you're fishing saltwater, you want to be cleaning the reels, like actually spraying them off, washing them with soap. You never want to take a reel and dunk it in water. So you never want to take like a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water, and take it and dunk the reel and submerge it, because if you do that, you're actually taking old oil, grease, dirt, everything, pushing it right into the reel and into the bearings, and you will definitely shorten up the lifespan of your reel by doing that. So if you have to spray it off, just spray it with a water hose, just with a regular water hose, or rinse it off in a sink or whatever, and do it that way. But like I said, look at the grease and oil that's coming off on my hand just from this reel. And it, you know, it hasn't been that long since I've cleaned it, but just through use, you get stuff on your reels. They get kind of dirty. So we're wiping it off, getting it cleaned up a little bit with the rag, and that is the first step. Just clean it up, just like that. All right, so the second step, and I'm gonna get you to come right here, get a little bit closer so we can see it under the light. But what you want to do is you want to remove this side plate. Now, different reels have different ways to do it. This one, this is a Lose speed spool. You pull out this little slide right here on the side, and then you twist the side plate. So by twisting the side plate, you loosen it up and you take the side plate off. So you can see there's a bearing right here. And get up close, there's a bearing right there in the reel, in the side plate right there. And then you have your spool. So you pull your spool out, and also on your spool, you also have a bearing right here. So that's a bearing we're going to be greasing right there. And then underneath your tension adjustment knob right here, there's also a bearing under there. So we're going to take off the tension adjustment knob. Sometimes these can be a little bit hard to get off because of the drag. You just got to line it up perfectly so you can get that bad boy off. And a lot of these have a clicker inside of this little, you know, the little knob right here. And you want to make sure that you do not lose that little clicker. But there's also, boom, there's a bearing right there. So these are the very easy ones, the easiest ones to get to. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to oil and grease those up, or actually oil those up, and then we're going to grease the reel pawl. This is a very forgotten area of the reel. So we're going to get right here under the light really good. But the reel pawl is located right here under this little screw. And basically what it looks like, it almost looks like a horseshoe. And I'm trying to show y'all if we can see the little grooves. There's little grooves right in there. And that horseshoe runs in and out of that groove and back and forth. And that's what makes the line go on your spool very smoothly. So we're going to take our oil right here, the hyperspeed oil. And one thing about it is you never want to overuse the oil. It does not take a lot. It does not take a lot at all. Basically, 1 or 2 drops is all you need. So we have the bearing right here in your side plate, and we're going to drop a drop of oil right there on that side plate. We got that done. We're going to put a drop or 2 of oil right here on that bearing. And I also like to put a little bit of oil on this shaft right here just because. So we have that done. And then we're going to take our reel, and right here we have this bearing right here, and we're going to put a drop or 2 of oil right there. And that's it. And if you take notice, and this may be a little bit hard to see, but you can see this hole right here where this bearing is. And basically what that is when you take your spool and stick it back in, it goes through that bearing. So see where it's coming in and out right there? Goes through that bearing. That's how you get that tension adjustment. So we're going to take our tension knob, we're going to put that back on really quick. So we're going to screw that on. We have that bearing nice and oiled up. So see how simple that is? I mean, super simple. I like to take a little bit of oil and put it right here on the end of that spool shaft right there. So we slid our spool back in. Get a little bit right here on this bearing right there. All right, so we're going to put our side plate back on. One thing that I did forget to mention was you do not want to tighten this tension knob too much if you put this on before you put the side plate on. And the reason for that is when you tighten this up, you actually push the spool out to the side of the reel right here, which can make it hard to get the side plate on. So if you do that, it'll make it where it won't go on. It'll be pretty difficult. But take it, put that back on, whether you have a screw or a little pull pin like this, put it back on there, slide it on, let that go back into place, and then you got that part done, nice and smooth. So the next part right here, as I mentioned, you have the reel pawl right here, and this is what runs back and forth and makes your level wind go back and forth, and that is what makes your line go smoothly on your spool. So what I like to do first, I like to take just a little bit of oil and put it right here. Run that back and forth on that bar. Nice and smooth. And a lot of people put oil where the reel pawl runs. I do not prefer to do that. I like to use some grease. It's a lot thicker, stays on there better. And I like to take it and reel it to the reel paws all the way to one side. And I like to take, if we can get in here and I can show y'all pretty close, I like to get that grease in there and coat it. Now you don't want to use a ton, but you want to get it in there pretty good. And I like to take it and reel it. And then I like to take it to the other side, and where I didn't get any oil, I like to get it right there on that side. Take that bad boy, or grease not oil. We're using grease on the reel paw. My daughter just reminded me of that. But we take it, reel it back and forth, and then you have that done. So that is done. So you have your easy to get to bearings oiled up. You have your reel paw greased. Now what we're going to do is, you notice right here, most new reels have this. They call this a grease port is what they call it. But basically when you take this screw out, you get this little piece right here pops out, and it allows you to get some grease on that main gear. So we're going to get our handy dandy little screwdriver here. And like I said, I like to use the flathead. It comes as a Phillips, but almost all of them have right here. It's like a bigger flathead. So I like to take that, and we're going to turn this out. And be sure not to lose these screws, because I'm telling you, it's another screw we're going to take off right here in a second. But they can get away from you, and you can lose them very, very easily. Like very easily. So we're going to take this, get this out. Whoop, see, like I said, almost lost it. But you have to get this little cover off right here. Most time you can tap it. You can see how that came off. But right here, try to get it in the light the best I can. Let me turn the light down right here. But you can see that gear right there moving. So what you want to do is, I like to take this grease and I like to get it where I got it right on there, and I like to turn it as I'm putting grease on that worm gear. I like to turn it. And like I said, you don't want to just coat it like a ton, but you want to get it on there, and I like to take it and turn it. Sit there and turn that handle, get it on there, get a little bit more on there. Take it, turn it, turn it, turn it. Get that on there nice and coated, and then boom, you have got your main brass gear right there. You have it coated in grease. So you take this, put this back on, put your screw back in there, and like I said, be very careful, because this thing will get away from you, and that is not good. Screw this back in nice and tight so you don't end up losing it. And we get this tightened up, and boom. So that's done. All right. So that part of it is done. Now there's one final bearing, and this is one that a lot of people do not grease or oil it, because this is what you want to put the oil on. But it's a little bit more difficult to get to. So what you need is, you actually need a pair of pliers, and we're going to use just some needle nose pliers for this. But you have your screw right here, and this is the anti-reverse bearing that we are going to be oiling. So you have to get this screw off right here that's in the handle, and this one can be like super tight sometimes if it has not been loosened up before. So we're going to take and get this one off. This one, I've never taken this one off. Like I said, it's a fairly new reel. But ooh, she is tight. We might have to grab another screwdriver for this, something with an actual handle on it, because I'm gonna tell you, she is tight. Let me grab a bigger screwdriver real quick. All right, so we got this screw broke loose right here. So we're gonna finish it up with this little smaller screwdriver right here. So you have your little screw, you have this keeper right here, and the main goal of this keeper is it keeps your nut, your reel handle nut, from coming loose. So you take a pair of pliers and turn that off and loosen it. So you want to make sure you keep all these parts from running away from you, because they will get away. So now you take your reel handle, slide that off. Now you're going to have a couple washers here. This one has one, some of them have two. It just depends on the reel. But you want to take and slide that washer off very carefully. Very carefully. And this is actually the part of the reel that gets the dirtiest. So you want to be able to clean and wipe this off as well. I don't know if y'all can see it, but this star drag right here is like super dirty. You can see the dirt coming off of it right here. So clean that up. But what you want to do is, you want to take your finger, your thumb, hold it on the spool, and turn your star drag off. So turn that off. You have a clicker in there, you can hear it, and once you get it beyond that, it's gonna quiet up, and you're just basically screwing it off of the main shaft right here. So star drag. Underneath, you have more things to remove. So you have another washer. If you have to, take a picture on your phone, do whatever, and you know, that way you do not forget the order that this stuff goes on. So washer there. Then you have this, you have another washer here as well. We can get it here with the little screwdriver. But what I like to do is just kind of take this all off at one time. So basically this right here has the clicker on it. This is the clicker. This is another washer. And I don't know if y'all can hear, but the grit in here, this part gets so gritty. So gritty. So this bearing right here is your anti-reverse bearing right here. So you want to get this cleaned out super good. Take a microfiber cloth. If it's like really dirty, you want to take a little brush, clean that up, do whatever you got to do. But this right here, like I said, it turns in right here, and you want to get some oil in there. So you want to take it, get some oil right here in the side, right here. And I like to oil this one up pretty good, not gonna lie. Like to oil it up pretty good, get down in there. And that's one thing about this oil right here, this Hyperspeed, it has this little needle on it, makes it super nice for getting that oil down in there. So this one wasn't crazy dirty, but it was a little bit dirty. So we got some oil in there. We're gonna wipe off the excess. And basically, obviously, putting it back together is the same way as you took it apart. But what I like to do, I want to clean this up as well. And I'm going to leave the washer in this one because it's not like crazy dirty. But sometimes this clicker part right here, this washer and clicker and all, can be like super dirty. Super dirty. So this one wasn't that bad, but we wiped it off nonetheless. So we're going to put this back on there, right there, just like that. Going to get it down, push that down in there. All right, and then we got another washer right here. This one had two washers on it. So this washer is going to go back on right here. And like I said, if you have to take a picture of it when you're doing this, do whatever you got to do, because you don't want to mess up and forget something, because that would not be good. But we're going to get this washer back on there. And what this does is basically pushes pressure back up on to your star drag right here. So we're going to put our drag, like I say, you got to take your thumb, put your thumb on the spool so you can get this started turning here. Get it on there. Once you get it on there and it starts going on nice and smooth, you're good to go. It can be a little aggravating to start at first. And something else too, being you don't have any drag at all, when you're putting it back on, you actually might need to take your finger and put it on the level wind to keep that from moving. But you have to get those lined up perfectly. So we got it lined up now. We're going to take and get this on there. Get our finger on the spool and on the level wind. There we go. See, once you get it on and get it dialed in, you're good to go. Put your thumb on the spool, you can tighten it up, loosen it up. Make sure you hear that clicker. Everything on that clicker is good to go. Make sure it's working properly. So I got my band-aid on my finger, it's starting to come off. But so we got our drag back on. You want to take this washer. If I can pick it up, get this washer back on there. Try to show that. So get that washer on there. And then your handle is going to go back on there. So we got our handle back on there right there. And you want to put this is your nut for your handle nut. And sometimes these can be kind of a pain to get back on. And you wouldn't think they would be because it's like really coarse thread, but they can be a little bit aggravating sometimes to get on there, just like this one. This one doesn't want to go on perfectly straight. Once you get it on there perfectly straight, you will know it though, because it'll glide right on. But right now, She's being a little bit, there we go. See, like I said, once you get it on there, she's good. So I like to take the pliers, give this a little bit of a twist. You want to get it good and tight. Hold your handle there. But when you put this on, you want to make sure you put your keeper back on, and it has to line up perfectly with this screw hole right here. If it doesn't line up perfectly with the screw hole, you need to take it off. Sometimes you have to tighten and loosen that nut a little bit to get it to line up perfectly. This can be an absolute pain sometimes. But there we go, we got it there. So we're going to tighten it up a little bit more to get it lined up. And there we go. So we got it lined up. A hole right there. And this screw, talking about a pain now, this little teeny screw right here, this thing can, it can make you have to go to church on Sunday. I can tell you that, because it can make you mad sometimes, especially if you drop it in the bottom of a boat or something. It is aggravating. I hope y'all see what I'm talking about right here. It's just so tiny and the threads are so fine that it's really hard to get started. I've had one of these before where I actually had to just put the reel down and walk away because it's so dang aggravating. But let's see if we can get this one done a little bit better than that and not lose it. Get it right here in the light a little bit better. Might have it right here if we can be super steady. No. If y'all have done reel maintenance before, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to this screw. It will absolutely make you lose your sanity sometimes. And then once you get it started, you're like, well, I mean, that wasn't so hard. Just like that. But phew, leading up to that point, she can make you go crazy. All right, so you want to tighten this up good so you don't have that coming loose. And we're going to check our drag, make sure our drag's right. Yep, spool's moving. Tighten up. Good to go. Boom, right there, right there. So, as y'all saw, very, very quickly, it is super, super easy to maintain your bait casting reel where it will last a super, super long time. Like I said, whether it's a $50 reel, $400 reel, it is a big investment that can last you a long time. And not only will it make it last longer, it will make your reel it'll make it smoother in general, way quieter. It'll quiet those gears up, and it'll just make you cast farther and all that good stuff. I'm telling you, make sure you do this to your reels. I like to do mine in the spring, like this time of year. It is the perfect time of year to do it. It's just a very rainy day outside. I'm not fishing. Came out here to work on my reels, and I just got this one done, and I wanted to show y'all with a little bit close up. Hopefully the video was close enough, where y'all could see everything, but basically y'all got the gist of it. Very, very easy. It'll make your reel last a very long time, so be sure to do that. Go check out some of my other videos where I'm fishing using these reels to catch some big old bass. I appreciate y'all watching. I'm gonna get some more reels cleaned up. I'll see you next time on Gunfish TV.